Hello everybody, this is RockHound and welcome back to our video guide to Minecraft. In this video we're going to talk about monsters. And we're not going to talk about all the monsters, just what I call kind of the big five, the ones that you're going to see all the time in your travels throughout the Minecraft world. And the first one we're going to start with here is the zombie. Now I'm going to go over a little bit of basic information about each one of these guys, and also kind of their strengths and their weaknesses, so you know a little bit about them when you face them out in the world. Now, the zombie's kind of the basic mob of the bunch. He's pretty straightforward. A melee attack, walks towards you. They've got really good pathing now. They used to be pretty dumb, but they're pretty smart about finding their way to you. As you can see, there are kind of two types of these. You'll see this little fella most of the time, and he resembles the default Steve player character. And then you'll see some of these, and they're he's looking the other direction. I'm in creative mode, so they're not really tracking me that well. But he looks a lot like the Minecraft villagers, and this is actually what you will get when a zombie attacks a villager. There's a chance they'll turn into one of these guys. And if you have a potion of weakness, I believe, and a golden apple, you can actually cure the villager zombies and turn them back into villagers. Now, like I said, they are a melee mob, so that means their only attack strategy is to walk towards you and try to touch you, and their strength primarily lies in numbers. They'll alert any of the surrounding zombies if they see you, and they'll all attack as a group. And actually, in the latest snapshots, they will also actually have a chance, depending on the difficulty setting that you're playing in, have a chance to spawn additional zombies if you attack them. Zombies spawn with 20 life, and some of their other strengths are the fact that they're one of the few mobs that spawn with natural armor. So they have 2 points of armor on them, which means most of your damage will be negated by, I believe, 16% by default until you kill them. Now, their attack strength also is something that's, I believe, changed recently, and it actually scales based on how much life they have left. The lower their hit points are, the more damage that they will do. So on easy, at full health, they'll do 1 heart of damage when they hit you, and when they're almost dead, they'll do 2 hearts of damage when they hit you. Now, that scales all the way up to hard mode. When they're almost dead, they will hit you for 9 damage. So you have to watch out for that. Keep your distance and try not to get hit, especially when they're almost dead, because, man, they'll pack a punch. Some of their weaknesses are, like I talked about before, they are a melee creature, so they will only be able to hit you if they are directly in contact with you. I can get right up here, 1 block away, and they still can't hit me. And that's probably their biggest weakness. They're not very smart, and they can only jump 1 block. So if you're standing up, let me grab a block here. So say you're standing up 2 blocks tall, there's no way that they can get to you. Now, let's talk a little bit about what they drop when you kill them. Oh, one other weakness. Let me do this really quick. Like some of the other mobs, they are also harmed in the sunlight. So if you see, as soon as they get into the sunlight, they will light on fire and will continue to burn even if they get into the shade. They will seek out actively shade or water if they're on fire. So that's a significant weakness. If you can just wait them out during the night, they will mostly burn up. Most of them won't make it to any kind of shelter or water in the daytime. So let's talk about what these guys drop. Now, if you kill them, they will drop anywhere from 0 to 2 rotten flesh, and that's good as kind of an emergency food source. But if you eat that, there's a chance you'll get an effect of hunger, which means basically your food's going away almost as fast as you're eating it. So it's really one of the worst foods in Minecraft. It doesn't poison you, but it does have that negative effect. As a rare drop, zombies will also drop potatoes, carrots, and iron ingots. Now, this is one of the few ways you can actually get potatoes or carrots. You can find them in villages as well, but keep that in mind as a source for those so that you can start that farm. They also have a chance of spawning with armor, weapons, and a shovel. I don't think they can spawn with any other tools than the shovel, but they can spawn with all types of armor and a wide range of swords. And that armor sometimes is enchanted, and they actually do gain the benefit of the equipment that they're holding. So keep an eye out for the guys that are all tooled up. If they're wearing a helmet, they actually are protected from sunlight. So you might spot a zombie now and then out walking around in the daytime that has a helmet on. Oh, and let me show you this guy over here. He found some water, so the water actually puts out the fire, and he's all right until nighttime. This is just a little demo world I've got set up for some of these tutorials. Now, let's go ahead and move on from zombies, and we'll talk about our next mob that you're going to see an awful lot. Alright, the next guy we're going to talk about is this little guy here. He is a skeleton archer, and as you can tell by the bow in his hand, he is a ranged mob. Now, they start just like zombies with 20 health points, and do damage based on the difficulty level that you've got your game set to, going from 2 up to 6 based on the difficulty level. His primary strengths lie in his attack mode. He's ranged. They are very good shots, especially in the latest snapshots and versions of the game. They're pretty deadly. There's not much you can do to avoid their shots, and that is their primary strength. They've got several weaknesses similar to zombies. I mean, they have to find a direct line of sight to you, so you can hide behind a wall. They will make their way around. They've got pretty good AI as far as getting a path to you. They've got the same vulnerability to sunlight as zombies, and they also just like zombies, and I didn't mention this when I was talking about them, they make a lot of noise. So it's really hard for them to surprise you if you've got the volume turned up and you're listening for them. They rattle and clank and make a bunch of noise, so they really let you know when they're around. Also similar to zombies, some skeletons will actually spawn with armor on, and they will also pick up equipment that's on the ground. So if there's armor laying down, or if one of them happens to kill you, there's a chance they'll actually pick up the armor and weapons that you're holding. So those are extremely difficult to deal with. If you get a armed up skeleton archer that's stolen your diamond armor and your good bow or your diamond sword, you'll have a bad day. So there's a chance that you'll see them in armor, and just like the zombies, if you get a skeleton archer with that has spawned with a helmet on, you might actually see him wandering around in the daytime because it protects them from the sunlight. So let's talk a little bit about what they drop. Early game, it's recommended to try to kill these guys if you can, or even to go out and watch when the sun's coming up and see where they are in the distance when they burn, so you can run. They'll drop a couple pretty critical items. One are bones. Bones can be used to tame wolves, and they also can be turned into bone meal, which is very handy to grow your crops. So those are really good. They also drop arrows, 0 to 2, I believe, of both of those when they die. So they're a good source of arrows and bones. There's a rare chance that they will drop their bow that they're holding, or armor if they've spawned with those. So a difficult creature to deal with early game, but a good source of some important supplies. Next up on our list of the creatures that you will see all the time is this guy. And if you've seen anything to do with Minecraft, he's going to look really familiar. This is a creeper. Just like skeletons and zombies. He spawns with 20 life, and he is a melee attack mob, just like the zombie. Now, his greatest strength is being annoying, I think. If you've never played, they look pretty innocent, really. Kind of little green. I don't know, he looks like a shrub or fuzzy guy. I don't know. But his attack is brutal. He doesn't hit you like a zombie. He doesn't shoot at you. He comes up and he explodes. And he explodes with the force of dynamite. It is an extremely destructive capability. And that kind of is one of the features that makes Minecraft. They're horrible, but at the same time, everybody kind of has a love-hate relationship with creepers because they're one of the main things that make the game what it is. Now, they do a significant amount of damage. You better have some armor on if you hope to survive a creeper blast, and they're also destructive to the environment. They'll leave big craters in the ground, and if you end up with one of them in your house by accident, they can destroy your entire house that you've been building, blow up your chests, and if you're unlucky enough to have two of them blow up, which they do seem to travel in pairs, some of them will blow up your chest, or they'll kill you, all your stuff will fly out on the ground, and the second one explodes at the same time. It will destroy anything that's on the ground. So they're pretty tough. One of the other strengths they have is, just like their name says, they're a creeper. They creep up. They make very, very little sound. I think they may make some footstep sounds, but they don't make any other kind of sound at all. No growls, no clanks and rattles like a skeleton. Listen for the footsteps here. They're very quiet. Unlike skeletons and zombies, they don't burn in the daylight either. Now, he's not attacking me because I am in creative mode, but I'll show you something in a little bit outside the range of the little building here. Their weaknesses, similar to a zombie, they are just a melee creature, so they can't shoot at you. God, I hope that never happens. They can only jump one block, so you could stand up on 2 blocks. Now, if you're up on 2 blocks, they might actually sense you, and they don't have to hit you like a zombie. They just have to be close enough to see that you're there, and they can still explode. So you need to keep your distance from them. Their range that they can sense you is actually increased depending on the difficulty setting of the game, I believe. I'd read that somewhere. And what are their other weaknesses? This one's fun. Let me grab an ocelot egg. Now, a cat or an ocelot you can tame in a jungle biome, and creepers are actually afraid of them. So let me hatch one here, and you'll see it hightails it away from a cat as soon as it can. And if they're coming at you, attacking you, and they see that you have a cat, they'll turn around and run. So that's kind of a fun one. I'm glad they put that in the game because it makes having a little pet cat worth it. Let's talk about their drops, and then I'll go let a couple explode and show you what kind of damage they can do. They will drop 0 to 2 gunpowder. Very handy for making TNT if you want to clear land quickly or just blow stuff up. That's fun. They have a rare drop of a music disc, and unlike other mobs that will drop the rare drop, if they're holding the armor or if you just get lucky, the only way the creepers will drop a music disc is if they are killed by a skeleton archer. So when you're out hunting, if you can maneuver a skeleton archer between you and a creeper and stay away from the creeper long enough to not blow up, the skeleton archer might hit the creeper and kill it. And if that happens, then they have a chance of dropping a music disc, which, being one of the rarer items in the game, it's kind of fun to try to go for that when you're out hunting or exploring. So let's go out over in the distance and explode some of these creepers just so you can see what kind of damage they can do. Okay, I've just come out here a little way, and here is a couple creepers. So let's see how fast they explode when I set my game mode to survival. Oh, here we go. Okay, now I got lucky the first time, and the second time, not so lucky. Alright, I'm going to set my game mode back to creative, and we will go ahead and talk about... Oh, he despawned. Probably sneaking around trying to kill me. We'll talk about the next guy on our list. Alright, the next mob on our list to talk about is the spider. And he is a melee creature. He can't shoot anything. But he has strengths that some of the other creatures we've talked about don't have. He can climb pretty much any vertical surface. As long as there's not a lip. He can't climb out. He can only climb up and over. So that can be very hazardous if you're starting out and you've built a shelter and say you leave the roof off. Well, they will climb right over the wall, jump in on your head, and it's gonna end poorly. They also can jump when they're attacking, so they can clear ground very quickly, and they can attack you in a manner that you're not necessarily used to, and it's hard to block. Another strength they have is actually their size. Most of the mobs, actually all the mobs we've talked about so far in the game, are 1 block wide and 2 blocks tall. So that's the same area that your character can fit through, and you can very quickly close that off. The spider is actually 2 blocks wide and 1 block tall. So you may have, I'm not going to do it next to him because I don't want him to get out, but if you have an opening like this, say in a wall or a cave you're in, they can climb right through that. So you have to watch out for that. I'm not sure whether I said this or not. They start out with 16 health points instead of 20 like the other mobs we've talked about. And they do not have any armor. Their other weaknesses are not actually that many. I mean, you can quickly outmaneuver them if you have a bow and shoot them from a distance, but they're a little bit faster than zombies or creepers, and they can become a serious hazard for you if you're pretty new to the game. They don't do that much damage. I guess that's probably one of their other weaknesses, is their damage scales based on the difficulty of the game, but they only do a minimum of 2 on easy and a max of 3 damage on hard. So their damage is pretty consistent and pretty low compared to some of the other guys we've looked at. They drop by default 0 to 2 string, and a little bit rarer 0 to 1 spider eyes. Now these, especially string, are another one of the resources that is really critical or good to have when you are just starting out the game. You can use that to make a bow, a fishing rod. If you have enough, you can actually turn 4 string into a piece of wool. The spider eyes are critical later in the game when you're making potions, and they're a good resource to have. You can eat them, the spider eyes too, as food, but they actually will give you poison, so it's not ideal. That's kind of a trade-off of food for life. So only have those as a last resort. Spiders are affected by sunlight a little bit differently than the other mobs we've talked about. If the spider is tracking you, that means if they've seen you and they're trying to get to you to attack you, they won't be affected by sunlight. They will continue to be aggressive. They don't burn. If you see a spider out in the daylight that has not seen you previously, they're actually a passive mob until you attack them. I don't see any right now, but you can walk right up next to them as long as they're not tracking you, trying to attack you. In the daytime, they're completely passive, just like any of the mobs, like a pig or a cow in the game, and will only attack you when you attack them. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of this guy and move on to the last one that we're going to talk about in this video, and that is the Enderman. Now, the Enderman is a pretty creepy guy. He's a passive mob, essentially. He wanders around. He can pick up dirt blocks and I think sand and gravel, a couple other things. He can actually pick up TNT and carry it around. He'll pick stuff up and he'll place it down. They've really nerfed this stuff. He used to be able to pick up any block in the game, I think. And so he could come up and just take blocks out of your wall, and it was pretty annoying. So they've, pretty shortly after they introduced him, changed it to just the natural blocks. Now, if your house is built out of dirt, you can come up and take a block of it. He spawns with 40 life, so he's by far the strongest mob that we've talked about so far. And like I said, they're pretty passive until you look at them. And that means, if you look at the crosshair on my screen, if I point at his chest or his head, and I'm in survival mode. I'm in creative mode right now, so he's not going to attack me. But if you look at him like this, his jaw opens up really wide, he gets pretty creepy and makes all kinds of crazy sounds, and then he'll attack you. And that leads me to some of their strengths. Now, the first strength is they hit incredibly hard. They hit much harder than any mob that we've talked about so far. It scales based on the difficulty of the game, just like the other mobs, from 4 up to 10 on hard. And if you're playing on hard and you don't have any armor on, they will wipe you out in seconds. Their other strength is that they are a teleporting mob. If they're far enough away from you or they can't get to you, they will teleport right beside you. And if you're in combat with them and trying to hit them with a sword or any kind of weapon, they will see, just like that. They will teleport around, and they'll teleport behind you, and it can get pretty dangerous very quickly. Let me put another one in there. As you've just seen, they also are affected by sunlight, just like the other mobs. Now, they don't burn, but what they do is they kind of go passive. They will teleport away from you instead of toward you. So in the daytime, if you're looking at them, they'll get angry and they'll make noise, and then they'll just head for the hills. So that's kind of a blessing in disguise. You don't want to have to deal with them if you don't have to. Let's see, what are their other strengths? That's mainly it. They are a melee creature. I don't know if I've said that already. They can't shoot anything, but they've got a pretty long reach. Let's talk about their weaknesses. Let's talk about one more strength before we go to weaknesses, and that is that they cannot be hit by any ranged weapon. And let me grab a bow here and some arrows, just so you can see what it is that I'm talking about. If I fire this bow at the Enderman, he will immediately teleport away, and he won't take damage. It used to be that they would take a little bit of damage, I think, but you actually cannot hit them with a ranged weapon. And if you grab a potion, which is also considered a ranged weapon, let's grab this damage, and we'll come over here and we'll throw it at this Enderman. He teleports away before he's hit by it. So you definitely have to combat them in a melee manner. You have to get up close and fight them. That, thankfully, is helped by their other weakness. And that is that they are 3 blocks tall. You can see right here on the side of this, if I look at it, 1, 2, 3, they are as tall as that entire thing. So if you just build yourself a little shelter, let me grab this block and show you. If you just build yourself a shelter that is 2 blocks tall, like so, they actually cannot get to you. He'll try to get to you, but you can stay safe underneath and not have to worry. when you kill an Enderman, they drop 0 to 1 Ender Pearl when they die. And the Ender Pearl is not necessarily something that you need early on in game, so thankfully you can try to avoid these guys until you get some decent gear. But they are very useful, and let me grab some here to show you what they can do. They are a mode of travel, actually, and just like the Enderman can teleport around, if you throw an Ender Pearl... My game's not letting me throw an Ender Pearl. I think that's because I'm on creative mode. Let's see. You will be teleported instantly to wherever it lands. So you can travel a great distance very quickly. And since I'm in survival mode right now, let me go ahead and look at this guy, and you'll see what I mean by them getting angry when you look at them. So over here I can look at their feet. Oh, he saw me looking at him. And here's that horribly creepy sound. They won't move or attack until you look away. Oh, he's a little bugged out. Oh, now he's starting to try to get me. See, as soon as I hit him, he's going to teleport, and he's going to teleport around, try to get behind me. Yeah, they're bad. They're creepy. Extremely dangerous. And now that one seems to be gone, but there's a good chance he might... Yeah, I hear him. There's a chance he'll just show up. There he is. He'll show up at a random time. You can see they are really hard, especially if they don't have a weapon to deal with these guys. So, let me switch back into creative mode. And let's look at what else the Ender Pearl can do. Actually, let's just get rid of him. Where'd he go? Okay, come here. I've got something for you. Take a diamond sword. Tearing up my... See, did you see? Even with a diamond sword, they take a serious amount of damage. So watch out for them. There are some more dangerous mobs in the game than that. I'm going to talk about the other mobs in a video that corresponds with them. So I'll talk about all the Nether mobs when we talk about the Nether, etc. So that is going to be this video on the top 5 basic mobs that you're going to see in Minecraft and have to deal with, and go out and hunt and try to get resources for them. The Ender Pearls are also critical in later finding a stronghold, which is something we'll talk about again in another video, and make it to the end and fight the Ender Dragon. So that's going to be this video. Again, all of these video guide videos are going to be indexed. So if you want to look at more getting started guides, or getting started videos, go down into the description and browse through the video index. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.